What if you died tomorrow and discovered you'd never actually lived? Not died in the biological sense, but realized that every breath you took, every choice you made, every word you spoke, none of it was really you. You were just a ghost, a shadow of someone else's expectations, a carefully crafted lie that fooled everyone, including yourself. This isn't some feel-good self-help nonsense. This is darker, harder, more uncomfortable than anything you'll hear from the motivation gurus or life coaches. But it's also more real. Friedrich Nietzsche understood something most people spend their entire lives running from. That finding yourself isn't about positive affirmations or vision boards. It's about destruction. Tearing down everything you think you know about who you are. It's about killing the false self so the real one can breathe. If you're ready for that level of truth, stay with me, because what comes next will change everything. Nietzsche wasn't trying to make friends. He was trying to save souls. His ideas about God, morality, and human nature made people uncomfortable. They still do. But uncomfortable truths are usually the ones worth hearing. They're the ones that cut through the bullshit and show you what's really there. He understood what most of us refuse to accept, that we're living in a world where all the old certainties have crumbled, where God is dead, as he famously put it, where science has explained away the mystery but left us with no meaning. We're orphans now, spiritual orphans in a universe that doesn't care. And that's terrifying. But it's also the beginning of real freedom. Because when the training wheels come off, when nobody can tell you who you are or what you should value, you finally have the chance to find out for yourself. Most people can't handle that freedom. They'd rather stay in the comfortable cage of other people's expectations than face the wild unknown of their own authentic self. But not you. Not if you're still listening. Step 1. Escape the herd. The herd is not your friend. Let me say that again. The herd is not your friend. From the moment you could walk and talk, you've been trained, shaped, molded into something acceptable, something that doesn't rock the boat, something that makes other people feel comfortable. Your parents meant well. They wanted to protect you. Your teachers had good intentions. They wanted to educate you. Society's rules exist for a reason. They prevent chaos. But here's what they don't tell you. What we call universal values, what we call truth, what we call morality, it's all made up. Fabricated by individuals and then imposed on everyone else. The moral code isn't handed down from heaven. It's a system of control disguised as guidance. And while it might keep you safe, it also kills something essential. Your individuality, your creativity, your unique way of seeing the world. Look around you. How many people do you know who are truly alive? Not just breathing and consuming and going through the motions, but actually living according to their own vision of what makes life worth living. Most people have amputated their dreams, cut off their creative impulses, settled for safe, predictable, acceptable lives. And they're terrified of anyone who refuses to do the same. When you start to think differently, when you begin to question the accepted wisdom, you become dangerous. Not because you're going to hurt anyone, but because you remind others of what they've given up. Remember Galileo? He was nearly killed for thinking outside the box. Remember every kid in school who was different and got ridiculed for it? Same dynamic, different century. The herd consists of people who have given up on their potential, and they're threatened by anyone who refuses to do the same. They'll try to pull you back down, make you feel guilty for wanting more, convince you that your dreams are unrealistic, that your ideas are stupid, that your authentic self is somehow wrong. Don't listen to them. Start by questioning those negative voices you've internalized. That harsh parent, that critical teacher, that partner who always finds something wrong with your ideas. They probably told you that you couldn't do something not because it was true, but because your success would expose everything that was lacking in their own lives. They wanted to limit your individuality, pull you back into the comfortable mediocrity of the herd. But you don't have to stay there. Being strong-minded helps. Being courageous helps. But mostly, you need to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. Because that's where your real self lives, in the scary, uncertain territory beyond what's safe and predictable. Step 2. Choose the beautiful difficulty. No price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. We live in a world that promises easy solutions, quick fixes, instant gratification, swipe right for love, order online for happiness. Follow this simple formula for success. But real self-discovery doesn't work that way. It's hard, it's isolating, it's uncomfortable, and it should be. When Nietzsche was 29, he wrote something that changed everything. He said that if you want to be somebody in this life, if you want to maximize your potential, you need to take the difficult path, the one that often leads to isolation. Being a loner isn't easy, but it's one of the prices you pay for owning yourself. To keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe, you need to distance yourself from others. You need to strive to be free. And that freedom comes with difficulties. Refuse the easy path. Decide to embark on the quest for freedom to be yourself, no matter how frightening it might be. Real freedom means being free from your own impulses too. Not letting your emotions drive you, but learning to drive them instead. When you feel that urge to complain passionately about something, stop. Become conscious of the impulse first. Then decide if you should act on it. This isn't about self-improvement for worldly success. This isn't about becoming more confident to attract investors or impress your friends. Those are surface-level concerns. Nietzsche goes deeper. The fight is an inner fight. The struggle is to find yourself. And this quest requires a different kind of sacrifice. If a motivational guru teaches you to be confident to become popular, Nietzsche teaches you to analyze why you want to be confident in the first place. Usually, you'll find it's just the desire to impress others, to prove something to society. A simple analysis might make you give up this desire entirely and focus on what really matters. Self-discovery might make you a loner. Not accepting compromise with yourself can put you in conflict with many people. It means changing your lifestyle, giving up friendships that don't serve you, looking deep into your fears, analyzing your darkest emotions, and rising above them. You have to break the chains of opinion and fear. Nietzsche encourages us to challenge our own demons, but not to cast them out. Beyond them, there's deep meaning you need to understand. Get out there in the world. Do things. Experience different temptations. But be present with your entire consciousness. Emerge as an individual with distinct strength of character and a much larger inner nature. If you don't experience life firsthand in a fully aware state, you can't claim you've lived your life. How far you can go depends on how much you're willing to pay for it. To reach the state of self-ownership, to avoid going through life without direction, you must learn to find your inner genius. To get in touch with your inner genius, You must walk a path no one has walked before, because you're unique, and no one can walk that path for you. Finding yourself is finding your uniqueness, that unique set of values and things you truly love, the things that represent who you really are. Step 3. Create your own meaning. He who has a why can bear almost any how. This might be Nietzsche's most practical insight. In a world where traditional sources of meaning have crumbled, where God is dead and science has explained away the mystery, where do we find purpose? The answer isn't out there. It's in here, in what you personally find meaningful, in what gives your life direction and purpose. In ages past, meaning was assured by God. Religion provided the framework. The answers were given. But in our increasingly secular and scientific society, we can no longer turn to religion for all our meaning. And Nietzsche found this concerning. Because without meaning, people drift toward nihilism, general apathy, an unwillingness to find value in life, a spiritual emptiness that technology and material success can't fill. So he offers 3 solutions, 3 ways to create meaning in a meaningless world. First, replace religion with philosophy, art, music, literature, theater, and other humanities. These can provide similar benefits to what religion once offered. They give us the ability to contextualize our suffering, to see our lives as not so different from others throughout history. They offer insights into how we might tackle the problems we all face. But it's important to see them as tools for living, not just academic studies. Read history not just for facts, but for what those facts tell us about human nature. Watch tragic plays to see the beauty in sad events, not just for entertainment. If the humanities don't interest you, Nietzsche suggests becoming an Übermensch, a superhuman who creates his own meaning and values without reference to outside influences. Such an individual overcomes the problem of meaninglessness by simply inventing their own meaning and taking full responsibility for it. According to Nietzsche, only a few people came close to this ideal: Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, the Buddha, Goethe. For the rest of us, we can find meaning by looking inward, evaluating what we really value versus what we only say we like because society tells us to. Nietzsche sees the psychological evolution of humanity as an ever-advancing story, one we should take part in. If becoming superhuman isn't your thing, there's a third option. Love your life, no matter what's in it. Amor fati, the love of fate. This is one of Nietzsche's most interesting ideas. To love your fate is to know that everything that has happened in your life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, has contributed to who you are at this very moment. Trying to create yourself will lead to failures, but embracing those failures alongside your successes can help re-spark your love of life. Help you see meaning even in the worst moments, because it's all part of your story, and your story is the only one you get to write. Step 4. The greatest weight. What if someday or night a demon came to you in your loneliest loneliness and said this: "This life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more." Would you throw yourself down and curse the demon? Or would you answer, "You are a god, and never have I heard anything more divine"? This is Nietzsche's thought experiment, the eternal recurrence, and it's designed to make you ask one crucial question: Is what you're doing truly meaningful? Or are you just acting out what your herd thinks is right? Nietzsche calls this the greatest weight, the feeling that crushes you into repeating past mistakes because of the unevaluated values you've adopted from others. If you think the things you're doing are worth repeating eternally, then you can be sure you're fully individuated. You have enough courage and strength to lift the greatest weight. If you don't think your life is worth repeating, chances are you haven't formed your own values. You're still a slave to society, and worse, to yourself. How many times have you found yourself in the same toxic relationship? The same dead-end job? The same patterns of behavior that leave you feeling empty and frustrated? If you find yourself repeating the same mistakes, feeling crushed by the weight of a life that doesn't feel like your own, chances are you haven't reevaluated the morals imposed on you by your herd. You're not a fully developed individual yet. Once you reevaluate your moral landscape, the greatest weight can be lifted. How many times have you turned a blind eye to someone gaslighting you because you didn't want to confront them? How many times have you heard yourself or a friend say, "I always end up with the same type of person"? If you were truly your own person, with your own set of values, you wouldn't find yourself staying in toxic relationships just because it's the right thing to do. You'd know that's just you trying to be a good person by society's standards. And that's not worth it. Nietzsche suggests asking yourself with every decision, do you desire this once more and innumerable times over? If the answer is no, then you need to change. Reevaluate your values. Only then can the weight be lifted. True good lies beyond standard definitions of good and evil. Most of us live in self-imposed prisons. Our cells are furnished with social beliefs that captivate the wildness and individualism of the human spirit. Many of us submit to the comfort of this cage, but Nietzsche recognized we can escape. We can awaken to what we personally value. To break free and create your own values, you have to undergo a transformation, a rebellious phase. You need courage to break the chains of tradition, religion, and society. You might even need to distance yourself from people in your life. It doesn't need to be violent or sudden. It can and should be smart, calm, but definitive. Start by making a list. Everything and everyone you think limits your freedom to be yourself. That unwritten rule at work. That spouse who always tries to control your behavior. Those friends who criticize you when you act authentically. Once you've identified these limitations, think of strategies. Maybe you could discuss the issue with your spouse. Talk to colleagues about problems you're experiencing. Find new friends who appreciate the real you. When you feel overtaken by the greatest weight, you don't need to hide your aspirations. You need to break out of your self-made, herd-based prison. Chase the dreams that give meaning to your life. This isn't about being selfish. It's about being honest. Honest about who you are and what you want. Honest about the price you're willing to pay for authenticity. This isn't a comfortable philosophy. Nietzsche isn't offering you a life of ease and social acceptance. He's offering you something much more valuable. The chance to own yourself completely. The price is high. You might lose friends who can't handle your authenticity. You might face criticism from family members who preferred the old, compliant version of you. You might find yourself alone more often than you'd like. But here's what you gain. You gain yourself, your real self. Not the performance you've been giving for others' comfort. Not the role you've been playing to fit in. But the actual, authentic, irreplaceable individual you were meant to be. You gain the ability to look in the mirror and recognize the person staring back. To live according to your own values, not someone else's. to create meaning in your life based on what actually matters to you, not what you think should matter. You gain the freedom to fail on your own terms, rather than succeed on someone else's, to make mistakes that teach you something rather than play it safe and learn nothing, to live a life that's worth repeating eternally because it's genuinely yours. Let's be honest about something. Being authentic is lonely, really lonely sometimes. When you stop pretending to be someone you're not, you'll discover that many of your relationships were built on that pretense. When you stop agreeing with things you don't actually believe, you'll find yourself in conflict with people you used to get along with. When you start pursuing what you actually want instead of what you think you should want, you'll find yourself walking a path that nobody else understands. This loneliness isn't a bug in the system. It's a feature. It's the price of admission to the club of people who own themselves. Most people are terrified of this loneliness. They'd rather be surrounded by people who don't really know them than be alone with who they actually are. But Nietzsche understood something crucial. That loneliness is where you meet yourself. In the quiet spaces between other people's expectations, you finally get to hear your own voice, and that voice has been waiting your whole life to be heard. Every day, you wake up with a choice. Every moment, you have a decision to make. Will you be yourself today? Or will you be who others expect you to be? Will you speak your truth? Or will you say what's safe? Will you pursue what gives your life meaning? Or will you do what's expected? These aren't abstract philosophical questions. They're practical, moment-by-moment decisions that determine whether you're living your life or just going through the motions. The demon of eternal recurrence isn't just a thought experiment. It's a daily reality check. Is what you're doing right now worth repeating forever? If you're in a relationship that drains you, is that worth repeating forever? If you're in a job that kills your soul, is that worth repeating forever? If you're living according to values that aren't really yours, is that worth repeating forever? The answer to these questions will tell you everything you need to know about whether you're living authentically or just pretending to live. Most of us are in prison. Not literally, but spiritually. We're locked up by other people's expectations, by society's rules, by our own fears. The cell door isn't even locked. We could walk out any time, but we don't. Because we're afraid of what's outside. We're afraid of the responsibility that comes with freedom. Nietzsche is offering you the key. He's showing you that the door is unlocked, but he can't make you walk through it. That's something you have to do yourself. The key is this: you are not your job. You are not your relationships. You are not your past mistakes. You are not what other people think of you. You are not even your own thoughts and feelings. You are the awareness that observes all of these things. And that awareness is free. It's always been free. The only question is whether you're brave enough to claim that freedom. So where do you go from here? How do you start the process of finding your real self? First, stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending you're happy when you're not. Stop pretending you agree with things you don't actually believe. Stop pretending you want things you don't actually want. The lies you tell yourself are more dangerous than the lies other people tell you, because you're the only one who can expose them. Second, start questioning everything. Every belief you hold. Every value you claim to have. Every dream you think you want to pursue. Ask yourself, is this really mine? Or did I inherit it from someone else? Third, be willing to disappoint people. When you start being authentic, you're going to disappoint people who were comfortable with the fake version of you. Let them be disappointed. Their comfort is not your responsibility. Fourth, embrace the loneliness. There will be times when authenticity feels like the loneliest thing in the world. Good. That means you're doing it right. That means you're finally meeting yourself. Fifth, create your own values. Don't just reject the values that were imposed on you. Create new ones that actually reflect who you are and what you believe. And finally, love your fate. Love everything that has happened to you, good and bad, because it's all part of your story. It's all part of what made you who you are. Right now, buried under layers of other people's expectations and social conditioning, your real self is waiting. It's been waiting your whole life. It's the part of you that knows what you really want. The part of you that has opinions you've never expressed. The part of you that has dreams you've never pursued. The part of you that's been suffocated by the need to be acceptable, to be liked, to be normal. That person is still there, still possible, still hoping. All you have to do is stop being afraid of them. Stop being afraid of what other people will think. Stop being afraid of making mistakes. Stop being afraid of being alone. Start being afraid of the right thing. Start being afraid of getting to the end of your life and realizing you never actually lived it. Start being afraid of dying without ever meeting your real self. Your real self is calling. It's been calling for years, maybe decades. It's the voice you hear in quiet moments when nobody else is around. The voice that says, "This isn't right. This isn't me. This isn't how I want to live." You've been ignoring that voice, drowning it out with busy work and social media and other people's problems. But it's still there, still calling. The question isn't whether you're capable of finding your real self. The question is whether you're brave enough to answer the call, whether you're willing to pay the price, whether you're ready to lift the greatest weight and live a life worth repeating eternally. The comfortable cage is still there. The herd is still ready to welcome you back. The voice of conformity is still whispering that you're being too difficult, too demanding, too much. But once you've tasted the freedom of being yourself, really yourself, it's hard to go back. Once you've experienced the deep satisfaction of living according to your own values, the shallow pleasures of acceptance and approval lose their appeal. This is your invitation to begin. To question everything you think you know about yourself. To examine the values you've never questioned. To consider the possibility that the life you're living might not be the life you actually want. It won't be easy. It might be lonely. It will definitely be uncomfortable. But it will be yours. And in the end, that's the only thing that matters. Not what others think of your choices. Not whether you fit in or stand out. Not whether you succeed by society's standards or fail by your own. What matters is that you live authentically, that you create your own meaning, that you become who you truly are, not who you think you should be. The person you were meant to be is waiting. The question is, will you answer?